So today, in this second episode of Must See Films, I, Aditya Bhattacharya, will be reading Dinesh Raheja's review of my grandfather's 1955 film, the iconic Devdas. Director Bimal Roy shot his black and white version of Devdas in a fascinating light and shade depiction, underlining the stark emotional shifts in the lives of his flawed but achingly human characters. Rich with imagery and desperation, this cinematic jewel is also prized thanks to Dilip Kumar's understated performance as the drunken protagonist. Roy was the cinematographer of the earlier and immensely popular Devdas from 1935, starring K L Saigal and directed by P.C. Barua. After Roy established himself as a director post Do Bigha Zameen in 1953, he returned to the subject, this time as a director, giving his own interpretation to noted literature Sarath Chandra Chatterjee's eternal novel. The story of Devdas explores some of the outer limits of human experience, from emotions like self-destruction and the defiance of society to contempt. Ghin aa rahi hai. I am disgusted, says Devdas about the sympathetic prostitute Chandramukhi. Devdas, played by Dilip Kumar, Paro, played by Suchitra Sen, are childhood friends who share a volatile relationship. Each is highly egoistic. When Devdas grows up, it is proposed that he marry Paro, but his father turns down the proposal. In one of Hindi cinema's most memorable and seminal scenes, Paro comes to his house in the middle of the night suggesting that they elope. Devdas, who cannot gather his scattered wits, turns her down. And fate does not give Devdas another chance to undo this decision. An unforgiving Paro rebuffs his overtures, and an angry Devdas hits her with a stick, only to then tear a bandage from his own clothes. He is her problem, and he is her medicine too. The resulting scar, because of this wound, becomes the only tangible motive of their love through the story as it continues. Paro gets married to another and Devdas flees to Kolkata. His friend Chuni Babu takes him to the Kotha, where he meets Chandramukhi, Vyjayanthimala, played by Vyjayanthimala. Chandramukhi is touched by the fact that he gives money without wanting anything in return, and she subsequently falls in love with him. But Devdas, while using her as an emotional crutch, is unsparing in his rejection of her. Haath mat lagao Chandramukhi, he lashes out when she tries to help him. Ab bhi kuch hosh baki hai. His hopeless passion for Paro sends Devdas down a spiral. Chandramukhi leaves her profession, changes her life. Devdas doesn't have the will to. Although he acknowledges Chandramukhi's place in his life, he cannot offer her anything more. He embarks on a train journey around India in a despairing bid to escape from his own demons, from his own self. Roy looks at Devdas with great sympathy. It is also a story about the two women in his life who actually emerged stronger than him. Dilip Kumar's physical traits, as a drunk, the way he blinks as though trying to clear the mists from his mind, are realistic, and so are his eloquent silences. Suchitra Sen is perfect, just right as Paro. She brings Paro's egoism, a defiance, and a certain self-respect. Vyjayanthimala imbues Chandramukhi with true sympathy. Who better than Chandramukhi would know the pain of a hopeless love? Some sidelights. Dilip Kumar was an established star at that time. Devdas was one more tragic role for the actor. In fact, he had to consult a psychoanalyst to help him deal with the aftermath of these roles. Vyjayanthimala, also a star after the blockbuster Nagin, still had to establish her acting credentials when Roy went to her, against the tide really, and cast her in the role of Chandramukhi. And it was Bengali cinema's foremost female star, superstar in a sense, Suchitra Sen's first Hindi film. She won wide acclaim, but the picky actress did only a few more Hindi roles subsequently. And Bombay Ka Babu, Mamta, and Andhi, notably. Devdas won Dilip Kumar the Best Actor trophy and the Best Supporting Actress award for Vyjayanthimala, which she was a little miffed about. She was vindicated, however, when Bimal Roy cast her in the title role of his next production, Madhumati. Some famous dialogue. Chandramukhi, और मत पियो देवदास, इतना ज्यादा बर्दाश्त न कर सकोगे. देवदास, कौन कमबख्त बर्दाश्त करने के लिए पीता है. Some memorable music. Composer S.D. Barman and lyricist Sahir Ludhianvi didn't have a Saigal as the earlier Devdas did, but they still came up with a memorable score for the film. Paro doesn't sing a single song, but there are two baul songs picturized on her. Geeta Dutt and Manna Dey's Sajan Ki Ho Gayi, and the eternally beautiful Milo Sham Savare, where a little Suchitra misses a young Devdas. Talat Mahmood's Mitwa, of course, is haunting. Chandramukhi has the best romantic numbers. Mubarak Begum's वो ना आएंगे पलट के उन्हें लाख हम बुलाए, and Lata's two mujras, अब आगे तेरी मर्जी and ओ जाने वाले रुक जा. Lata Mangeshkar's plaintive जिसे तू कबूल कर ले वो अदा कहाँ से लाऊं serves well as Chandramukhi's signature tune. That's it. Thank you.
We will be back again next week with Bimal Roy's fascinating black and white tale of reincarnation, Madhumati. The film featured Vyjayanthimala in an author-back role, and she made the most of it. Dilip Kumar was fascinating as a baffled lover. Salil Chaudhary's music was studded with gems. The film is a testimony to the concept of musical thrillers, a genre peculiar to Hindi films.